It's very much, I tried on Black culture and I'm taking it off. That is what it looks like, and that is what it feels like, and that is what they're doing. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Mixed Feelings. I'm your host, Kira Bria, and today I wanted to talk about the cultural significance of the Kardashians BBL removal. And I do start to understand why people say I overthink things because I'm about to do a deep dive on this, but also no, because, well, here's the thing. I think people really underestimate, and I understand why. Like, there's a lot of misogyny in the retelling of the Kardashians story and the way people look at influencers in a negative light, and like it's easy and it's not work and blah blah blah, all these different things that I'm not going to get into right this second. But to deny the relevance of the Kardashians is something I can't get behind, and it's just stupid and lacks critical thinking. Because if you really think about the importance of them regarding, like, think of all the rap songs that mention them, think of all the movies that mention them, think of they are ubiquitous in our culture. Whether or not you like them, you cannot deny that they are ubiquitous, they are everywhere. And what they do and why is actually a microcosm for our entire society. It really is. So yes, I'm gonna do a deep dive on what's in their ass, okay? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Anyways, so today I wrote a short essay. And let me read it to you. So if you are not aware, there has been recent speculation regarding the change in size of Kim and Khloe's asses. They used to be serving dump truck / diaper vibes, but have now returned to what appears to be their original sizes. As someone who has recently watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians from the very beginning, I can tell you that their natural bodies were stunning, and they had asses that many women would envy the size of, pre-operation. When the Kardashians moved into the BBL era, they emerged with asses that probably carried most of their body weight. This also happens to be when the worst of their cultural appropriation was committed, and when they inserted themselves in Black culture with what appeared to be an unquestionable entitlement. They surrounded themselves with Black men and Black babies. They used their proximity to Blackness to excuse their cosmetic blackface. They painted their skin dark, wore box braids, filled their lips and asses to the brim, and became what many Black men considered the ideal Black woman, having all the aesthetics of one without the drama, attitude, baggage, or authenticity. While many people will argue the Kardashians are not responsible for unrealistic beauty standards, it is no coincidence that many girls as young as 18 have gone into debt to pay for their BBLs since the Kardashians popularized them. BBLs now appear to be compulsory to so many young women that they would rather go into debt to afford the procedure than spend time in the gym trying to build a butt naturally. The Kardashians removing their BBLs marks the end of a few eras. First of all, BBLs are officially dead. They are out of style now. Once a Kardashian does something and undoes it, it means it has become too accessible to the general public, and they no longer see it as something worthy of their brand. A few people in my TikTok comment section mentioned that the royals did the same thing with spices. Once spices became accessible to the general public, the royals stopped using them and preferred bland food. Secondly, the Kardashians are done with Black men. They now have Black babies to use as their excuse to appropriate Black culture. So the men will no longer be necessary. We have already seen the move towards sickly-looking white men Kourtney and Kim have made with Travis Barker and Pete Davidson. The Astroworld disaster guaranteed Kylie's need to distance herself from Travis Scott. Moving forward, I think it is also possible we will see them actively trying to avoid the appearance of appropriating Black culture because they understand the post-pandemic world is much less tolerant of racial ignorance. The Kardashians are many things, but they are not stupid. They know what's really on trend right now is the aesthetic of wokeness, and they must maintain that to stay relevant to some degree. The crazy thing about this is, where does it leave the women who have gone broke to turn their bodies into a trend? If you spent all of your money trying to fit a trend that is now outdated, where does that leave you? Broke with a body shape that is out of style. I guarantee that BBLs will soon become as outdated and tacky to society as fake boobs. People will point and laugh at them in bad taste and start to glorify natural small booties the same way people now love small boobs. The pendulum will always swing aggressively back and forth, so it is not smart to go broke trying to stick to one side. Girls have spent thousands of dollars to get the butt of their dreams, only to become the butt of someone's joke. The thing is, the Kardashians have money to treat their bodies like trends. They have personal hairstylists, makeup artists, and plastic surgeons to assist them with every small curve and beauty culture. If you do not have access to that, you cannot afford to be moving like that. Because by the time your body recovers from the life-threatening surgery you put it through, there will already be a new procedure trending. Whatever you have done to your body will be out of style, and you may not be able to afford the reversal. Long story short, love yourself, bitch. Your body is not a trend. Don't treat it like one. So, that is the short essay I wrote today, which, by the way, you can catch all of my short essays on Patreon. Link will be in the description. I was feeling called to write something about this because, I've been seeing some TikToks like talking about, did they remove their BBL? And the thing is, if you look at the pictures, it's very obvious because before, especially, it's crazy because I watched every single episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I do want to do I keep talking about this. I'm sorry, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it next week. I'm gonna do a deep dive on the entire all of it, 20 seasons, everything that I saw, that I learned, that I want to talk about. I am gonna do that. But when I was doing it, because I was binge watching it and seeing, I watched all of it in a pretty short period of time, so it's very noticeable the changes in their bodies. The quickest transitions that you see are really, I would say, Khloe and Kylie. Kylie's is probably the most aggressive transition. She's 12 and then she's 20. It's very quick. But even Khloe, and I was trying to see because I remember, before I started watching it from the top, I just remember, when I was younger, I don't know why this was my personality, but everybody was saying, oh, their asses are fake. And there's that one episode where Kim gets a butt x-ray, and I was like, no, you guys, she literally got a butt x-ray and there was nothing in her butt, so it's real. What I do know is that when you watch season 1, their bodies are naturally curvy, and they talk about it because back in that time, it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool yet to be curvy. You know what I mean? So I personally believe that Kim's natural body was beautiful, and a lot of women now would kill to have her natural body. And same thing with Kourtney. Kourtney had a really nice shape. Oh, sorry, I meant to say Khloe. I still get them confused, to be honest with you. I think Khloe had a really nice shape. All of them. I think they already naturally had a bit of a butt. So then the fact that they had to get a BBL and it became literally diaper status, that always seemed a little bit unnecessary to me. And the discourse that's been happening on TikTok is, they got their butts to that size to attract Black men, which that could be true. That could be true, right? And that's what I was saying in my essay, when their butts were the biggest, that's when their cultural appropriation hit the hardest. And that's when it was the strongest. That was when the fake tanning was the most aggressive, the box braids, just everything they did was soaked in Black culture. And that being said, they've been with Black men most of the time. Some of them, Kim and Khloe, from what I can tell, have mostly dated Black men. And so I don't know if maybe that's always been what their ideal image of themselves is in their head, is to have this massive butt. But I also feel I don't know, but also when you watch the show, you do see like Kim is very critical of herself. Because I was about to say, like, wouldn't she just already think she was hot? But no, she's not the type to really think that way. She was actually very, very like critical of herself the whole time. So I'm sure even though she had a butt, she probably was like, it's not big enough. It's not big enough for what she pictured herself to be, especially if she's about to appropriate Black culture every day. She probably just, I don't know if she wanted to fit the look, what it is. I don't really know, right? But I know that for some reason, what they looked like wasn't good enough to them, and they had to make their asses bigger, and potentially maybe it was to attract more Black men, right? And also, like, I can see the fact that if they have the money to do that, and yeah, they already have a bit of a butt, but it's like, maybe they're like, I need to have the biggest butt. I could see them doing that too, right? And, you know, they go about their appropriating lives and they pop out some Black babies and then they toss away the father. And I'm more so talking about Kim. Obviously, Chloe deserves to toss away that father because he's trash. He's trash. And you know what? He's from Canada. He is from Canada. And that is sad. That is sad. But this isn't to say, though, this isn't to say that their relationship issues weren't semi-valid in the fact that, like, do I think that Kim tried her best in her relationship with Kanye? Like, maybe. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, yes, they are humans, right? And yes, I can see her relationship with Kanye, like, literally just going south. But it also just kind of happens to be a very convenient timing. Do you know what I'm saying? And, like, the whole Pete thing, especially with Courtney and it just happens to be very convenient timing that the way it looks from the outside is very much, y'all used and abused Black culture, got what you wanted. Now you have your Black babies, which is what you're using as your, like, card of validity to Blackness, your train ticket to Blackness, and you can take whatever you want. And because you have those babies for the rest of your life, you're gonna always be adjacent. And from the outside, it does seem like very convenient timing that you did that and you popped out those babies and then you throw away the Black men and then you move on to the white men. And it's also very convenient timing that this is when, you know, people aren't tolerating racial ignorance at all anymore, and you can't get away with what you used to get away with anymore. And it's also very convenient timing that now is when you choose to get your BBL out. It's very much, I tried on Black culture and I'm taking it off. That is what it looks like, and that is what it feels like, and that is what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying they're not human, and I'm not saying that they, you know, the entire relationships were fake, but it's very convenient timing is all I have to say about that, right? And in regards to, okay, so the thing is, this is what I told y'all. I told y'all that this was gonna happen. I told y'all that BBL was a trend. I told y'all that you need to stop making your body a trend because it's gonna go out of style. And now it's going to be sad to see, to be honest, because, like, I wasn't that old when, like, well, I know that people still do get their boobs done, but, like, not to the same degree, right? Like, I think we can all agree that, like, small boobs have been normalized. Like, when I was growing up, it was like life or death if you had boobs or not. You know what I mean? Like, if you had no boobs, what was the point of your existence? Like, why did you take up space as a woman? That's what it used to be, right? And that's not what it is anymore at all. These days, like, people say, oh, I like small boobs better. They're more elegant, or there's way more acceptance and love for people's, like, natural boobs now, I think. Small or big. But especially small. Like, I feel like small has been, like, way more glorified to the point where, like, I think a lot of men even, like, prefer smaller boobs. So that's what I'm saying, that the whole narrative surrounding that is way different than when I was little. And with BBLs, like, I'm concerned because I know that there's so many women, not to mention young girls, Not to mention young girls and women who have gone into debt over this. There is a lot of women and girls who just got their BBL done and they thought they're set for life, right? They think, oh, I am now the beauty standard and I am going to be the beauty standard for life. The problem is, especially if it's not done well, I guess, but a lot of times you can tell when it's a BBL, and even if you can't tell, it's a specific shape, you know what I mean? And that is what the trend has been. And we know that trend cannot stay forever, because when has a trend stayed forever? Never, right? And so the thing is, the Kardashians have the money to switch up their bodies every day and to switch up their hair and their nails every day. They have the money to do that. And the problem is when young girls and women enter into that game that they can't afford, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna get stuck somewhere you do not wanna be. You're gonna get stuck on this side of the spectrum as it is currently swinging to the other side. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be like necessarily small booties are in, but that is very possible. But it also could just be a movement towards a different kind of look of a butt, you know what I mean? Because BBL is a very specific look, I would say. And it's just sad to me because there's so many girls who just went broke over this, and they're gonna have to financially recover from this as the beauty standard is swinging away from what they just went broke on. Because they do not have the money to treat their body like a trend. And so they really kind of put themselves in a tough spot, because the thing is, beauty standards are going to keep evolving and keep evolving. For example, me, listen, I've been playing the long game. I've had these under eye circles since I was born, right? Forever. And I remember when I was young, I used to just look in the mirror and I would just cover them up like this, right? And I would be like, oh, sorry, if you're listening on podcasts, I'm just taking my fingers and covering up my under eye. I would be like, oh, I would look so perfect if this just wasn't there. If I just covered this up, my face would look perfect. Come to 2021, bitches are drawing that shit on. And honestly, I sort of get it. It kind of is a look. And so I just had to wait it out. Until it was my turn. And then what I naturally had has its moment. You know what I mean? And I wish people understood that more. I really do, because if you keep your natural self, some part of you is going to have its moment of glorification just by the nature of how consumerism works. People are always trying to sell something new, and they're like, we're going to sell something for people to draw under their eyes, and we're going to make under eye circles cool. And then it's like, cool, I don't have to do anything. I can just watch these other girls draw stuff under their eye and call it chic. And then you have your moment. And I wish more women would think that way, because you cannot keep up with this. You don't have the money or the time or the energy to keep up with this. I don't know what you think you're doing. The fact that, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but the fact that BBL journey is a hashtag is a very popular, common hashtag. That is the weirdest shit in the world to me. Hashtag BBL journey. As if you're recovering from cancer or something and you need more. I get it. I get the idea, but damn, it's that popular. I personally think if a cosmetic procedure becomes so popular that there is a popular hashtag that people use on TikTok when they post about it, you probably shouldn't be getting it, because that means there's a shit ton of people. That means there's a lot of people who are treating their bodies like Barbie dolls. And I just want people to understand that they're doing that. First of all, the other thing is I don't see why you can't do some squats. I personally have never understood that, because for me, I really used to not have that much of a butt. The only reason I had a butt was because Like when I used to have more of a butt, I just was heavier overall, but there wasn't a lot of muscle in there, right? And it took me a long time, but like through weight training, my butt is definitely a lot bigger now, hands down. And it's like the fact that BBLs have been presented as so compulsory that like the 18-year-old girls, you guys, 18-year-old girl, I don't know if you saw that TikTok. It was like an airport in Florida, and the person just panned the airport. It was a bunch of like 18-year-old girls in wheelchairs because they just got BBLs. Honey, your body has not even anywhere close to fully developed, and you won't even give it a chance to. You won't even give it a chance to, and you won't even give yourself a chance to just like build it naturally. That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. But point being, like, if something is so popular that there's a hashtag for its recovery that a lot of people are using, you should be careful because it's about to go out of style. That's a sign that it's overpopulated. That's a sign that the procedure has gotten so popular that nobody's gonna give a shit. It's like, it's literally like with anything. Like okay, I had a bench jacket in like 5th grade. I was the first person to get it in my school, and it's like the one with the weird collar. And I remember I wore it to school the first time. I got it for my birthday. And I wore it to school on my birthday, and I felt really cool. But everybody else was like, what are you wearing? That's really weird. What is this jacket? It looks so weird. And then like within the next couple months, everybody had one. And then nobody cared about it. And then everyone's like, oh, it's a bench jacket, whatever. Also, bench might be Canadian, I don't really know. So if you're American and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But it was just this jacket that everybody had at a certain point. Same thing with Roots if you're Canadian, or like if you're not Canadian, Uggs, Birkenstocks, something like that. Like I remember when Uggs first came out, it was like a big deal to have Uggs. And obviously now, not only is it not a big deal to have Uggs, but all Uggs are also considered chuggy, quote unquote. I don't mess with the word chuggy, right? I don't, but I'm just saying that's what they call it now. They call it basic white girl. So the fact that, and I just don't understand also why people don't have that foresight. Like if you're about to go on your BBL journey and you're excited for the hashtag, wouldn't you think, am I just jumping on a bandwagon that is about to expire? Because that's what I would think. But I mean, that's obviously just me, and you can obviously do what you want with your money, but I just don't think it was smart. I don't think it's smart to go broke and go into debt. Like, cause I'm hearing that there are girls who like took out loans to get a BBL. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We can't be this dumb. We can't be doing that because you cannot play like you are a Kardashian when you are broke. Like you cannot be moving like they do when you are broke. And it's like, I also know that a lot of people say, it's not the Kardashians' fault for these unrealistic beauty standards. And I understand what they're saying in the sense of like, you should think for yourself. That's true. That's true. But can we deny that they've created a culture that makes young, impressionable girls who like, if they're 18, they had a phone earlier than I did, and they've been like comparing themselves to girls on Instagram for longer than I have. And it's probably just been such a difficult part of their mental that I understand how they might come to think that it's compulsory. And they might come to think, here's the thing too though, what I think people forget is that when we're seeing this kind of body or these different trends, these different body trends, the lip fillers, the self-tanning, the BBL, all over media, it's not just that it gets hard to compare yourself to it, especially if you're a young, impressionable girl, but there are men out there who are starting to think that that is the norm. There are men out there who are like I don't know if you guys ever saw that. I don't know if it was a TikTok or whatever it was, but it was a video of this guy like crying when he saw Kylie Jenner in real life, and he was like, I would die to have a girl like that. And it's like, they don't care that they're fake. Like I know there are definitely some guys who do care when stuff is fake, but there are definitely a lot of guys out there who probably make girls around them feel really bad or feel really unattractive and undesirable for not fitting these beauty standards. So we can't just be like, oh, it's not the Kardashians' fault. And I understand, like, it's not they didn't make these girls get BBLs, obviously. But they do have a big hand in the culture that makes everybody think that that is the norm and that that is what you need to be beautiful. And to deny that and to deny societal pressures that are on young women to look a certain way is just mean. It's just mean to be like, it's all your fault. You should have been more confident. Even when that boy was telling you that you were ugly because you had a flat butt, you should have been more confident. It's like, because I feel for these women. I feel for these women. And I think what people forget is that the Kardashians are these women. Kylie Jenner got her lips bigger because she kissed a boy and he told her that her lips were too small. So to be like, oh, it's not the Kardashians' fault. They are what they perpetuate. And their insecurities are what a lot of young, impressionable women's insecurities are. Except the Kardashians were blessed with this wealth that they can do anything about it. And so it's a little bit unfair to point at the girl at the bottom who is like seeing these things and feels really affected by these things and be like, you're just too insecure. You need to figure it out. Because nobody did that to Kylie Jenner because she had the money to fix it. Nobody did that to Kim and Khloe because they had the money to fix it. So that's not cool and that's not fair. And that's why we do need to have these conversations. And that's why the Kardashians can't be these untouchable people who have nothing to do with anything, as if they aren't perpetuating their own insecurities in other women and being dishonest about it and saying they just went to the gym. We need to think better than that, and we need to protect young girls. And that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest reason why I want to talk about this so much, is because I fucking care. I care about these young girls, and I don't want anybody to be going into debt over changing their body. And if we don't have these conversations and really try and peel the layers apart of what is real, what is fake, what is necessary, and what is unnecessary BS that you were holding yourself to but you really don't need to be, and trying to filter out like what comments are real about you and what are just completely and totally informed by this social media BBL, lip filler, self-tan culture that we've built and maintained. Like, if we don't talk about this stuff, girls are going to keep falling into the same trap of, oh, well, I'm not desirable, so I must pay this amount of money to this probably man to do work on my body. I have no respect for the people who are like, you know, we shouldn't talk about anything that a woman has done to her body. And we shouldn't talk about the Kardashians. And we shouldn't talk, like the people who are like, let them do what they want and don't talk about it at all because they think it's rude to talk about it. I have no respect for them because I don't think they have a single brain cell. Because this is a system. Just like anything else, these are not isolated incidents. And it's so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me how this shit always comes back and hits women. Like right now, I'm just like really seeing it in my head. The system of misogyny and insecurity and like capitalism on women's bodies that has trickled down into this. Because I need to take a sip of water before I go down this. The system, oh my goodness, this is so crazy for me, and I'm gonna try to explain this in like a sensible way. So we start at the top. You have the Kardashians, right? You have the Kardashians doing what they want to do in the beginning, which is like modeling and different social media things, right? And because they're women who are doing social media things and modeling and something that has to do with their looks, it's not being viewed as a real career. It's not being taken seriously. But they're also being ridiculed and judged for how they look at every corner, right? And so they have these eyes on them and they choose to modify their body in certain ways. And that is also obviously manipulated by Black culture and what they want to do with Black culture and yada yada. But the thing is, they change their bodies due to insecurity, because you don't change your body if you're not insecure. Be real. You don't change your body if you're not insecure. If you're 110% happy with yourself, you are not going under the knife, because why would you, right? And the thing is, this is why I'm saying the misogyny in every single angle of this is nuts when you really look at it from the top, from a bird's eye view, because the thing is, people don't view the Kardashians as even having a real job or being influential because of misogyny also. They're like, they don't even do anything. I don't know why they're famous. And so the fact that so many young women are so influenced by them and feel that the modifications to their body are so necessary and compulsory is also being overlooked and made fun of because of the misogyny, because they're saying, what do you mean the Kardashians don't do it? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, none of this is being taken seriously because people are like, it's just women and beauty. And the effects of it are irrelevant because they don't matter, because they're just women who look pretty. When this is actually, like, first of all, killing people. We could talk about the people who literally die from BBLs. We could talk about that. We could talk about the financial situations that have ruined people because they've taken out loans trying to get BBLs. And all of it is just being dismissed and belittled because they're like, well, why are you that affected by what this nothing influencer is doing? Like, that is a whole different conversation, the way society views influencers, particularly female influencers, and views them as doing nothing. All of this is misogyny top to bottom. Top to bottom. The fact that it's not being taken seriously, the way social media and the way the Kardashians affect young women, and the reason that the Kardashians have even behaved in the way they have in the first place, the fact that none of this gets taken seriously. It all just goes back to hurt women and benefits men and profits capitalism, which is mostly men, and benefits the male surgeons. Do we see the problem? It's sad. It's sad. It's really just sad. But I think at the end of the day, the main message here is you need to love yourself in your own natural body, because whatever your natural body is could very well become the beauty standard at some point. B, whatever you do to your body is going to also not be the beauty standard at some point. And unless you have the money to fluctuate as if you're switching hats the way the Kardashians do, not just with their looks, but with Black culture, unless you have that kind of money, you cannot be moving like that. You cannot play with the big dogs, okay? You should not be moving like that. Save your money, go to the gym. If you're really that pressed, do some squats, like for real. If you're really because it works. Because it will work. And I don't want to get bulky. You wish you could get bulky. You wish. You wish. There are gym rats who pray every day that they could build a 0.5 gram of muscle. And they are on these crazy diets, training super hard, and they struggle. And yet women who have never worked out in their life are afraid of getting bulky. We need to get a grip on that. Because that's like a weird thing to be afraid of. You have to work hard to gain muscle. That being said, it is very possible, right? It is very possible. It's going to take some time, but the whole bulky cop-out and I just want to have skinny legs and a big ass, there's no need for that. It's really unnecessary. If you really, really, really desire a BBL and you are 18, go to the gym, please. Save your money. Save your money. You don't even need, if you can't afford a gym membership, I don't know why you're trying to get a BBL, to be honest. So, love yourself. Don't treat your body like a trend, because it's not. And that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Kira Bria. Check out my Patreon. It will be linked in the description. And make sure you subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, share it on your story. All of this helps me out. I'm trying to blow this channel up. Please, 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 I would really, really appreciate it if you're listening on podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, leave a nice review. Also, don't be afraid to send me questions that I can answer on this podcast, because I love to answer your questions. Okay? Yeah, but that's it, and I will see you next time. Bye.